Hello guys, how's it going? Phone Talkers here, and today I'm going to be doing a very different tier list. See, this isn't a big one, but it's a tier list that's going to take a while to do because I want to talk about one of the most interesting directors in Hollywood, and that's Rob Zombie. I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie's music. I love White Zombie, and I love his solo stuff. But more interesting, he is a very interesting director, to say the least. He does make very samey films, but he does give it that sort of Rob Zombie flair to it, and he does try to do different things with each new film he does. So let's do about this tier list. I want to try to find something positive with each movie I tier, and I'll go over all the negatives. Now keep in mind, I do think Rob Zombie is a great director when he does try, when he actually does, he does write a very well done script. But other times he just mainly does the same type movies. And if you're a Rob Zombie fan and I offended you, I'm sorry, but this is just my opinion. So let's go and get into this with the movie 31. Honestly, the more I watch it, it's gone up a bit. 31 is basically people get kidnapped, forced into this fucked up situation on Halloween, and they have to go through this game of sorts. Kind of like a haunted house in a way, where there's a bunch of psychopaths and a bunch of killers, and all of them are very different and unique, and it's a very bloody and vulgar experience. Traditional Rob Zombie stuff. If you want the traditional Rob Zombie movie, this is it. This very much has a lot of the Rob Zombie stuff in it. If you want over the top Southerners in a 1970s setting with a very toned down color palette for the film, makes it look kind of gritty. Over the top vulgarity and gore, 31's your movie. I did find enjoyment in it, and all of the fucking villains in it are phenomenal, especially the midget, not the dwarf. I can't remember his name, but he's basically like this Spanish Hitler worshiper who goes around killing people. It's fucking weird, and it's fucking awesome. Although, what brings this movie down a lot is this is not Zombie's best script. This feels very weak. It just feels like he was really trying to push that shock factor of like over the top gore and over the top violence, and he didn't want to focus on the written part of this, which you'll see a lot. It's going to be a main theme for a lot of these Rob Zombie movies. But I mean, it's still a fun time. It's something I wouldn't. It's a middle of the road movie. I mean, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Not a bad experience, but definitely not one of Zombie's best. Halloween 2. We all know where this is going. This is a sequel that Rob Zombie didn't want to do. Are there any positives with the movie? Of course. I do think the actor who played Michael Myers still does a phenomenal job as the character. And the hospital scene is great. That's about it. Everything about this movie is weird. It's different, but it's not good. What makes this movie so bad is the fact that you can tell Rob Zombie didn't want to do it. You can tell Rob Zombie definitely didn't want to make this movie. He was forced to. It was in his contract. Which sucks, because, his first Halloween movie was definitely experimental. It was something new, and I can give it that. Halloween 2 just doesn't feel like a Halloween film. It feels like Rob Zombie's twisted tale of this psychopathic killer that is not Michael Myers. I mean, the writing is not that bad. I do think Malcolm McDowell and Brad Dourif are still awesome in the film. I do love their characters. I do love both their characters in this movie. Still do not care for the Laurie Strode character. I do not think she's fucking Laurie Strode, but hey, this is a different interpretation. John Carpenter said do a different interpretation of Halloween, and he did so. So I can't really fault the guy for that. House of a Thousand Corpses, again, not a big fan of. And I'm being unfair, this is Rob Zombie's first movie. This is his debut film. This one just seemed a lot more shock for shock. It's unnecessarily violent at times. The dialogue is fucking weak and it's atrocious. This is why I don't consider like the Rejects trilogy a real trilogy. That's what I call it, because I don't consider the first movie anywhere near the same quality as the two movies I'll get to in a second. But House of a Thousand Corpses, it's just, to me, it does feel like Rob Zombie doing what he wants with a film. I heard that movie did push a lot of boundaries in terms of his rating system, and that's understandable. Again, it's fucking Rob Zombie. But man, the editing in this movie is so fucking sloppy. It feels so cheap. The gore, I mean, I don't mind a good gore fest film, but the only thing good to come out of this movie, to me, is the song "House of a Thousand Corpses" by Rob Zombie, which was a badass song, which was a really good song if you haven't heard it. But yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses goes in D tier. Definitely not one of my favorites by him. So this is where I'm going to piss a lot of people off. Rob Zombie's Halloween 1, to me, it's like a 5 out of 10. And listen, this was Rob Zombie's take on Halloween, and while he did not succeed, it's not as bad as the other Halloween movies out there. This could have been a hell of a lot worse. For one thing, they got, I think his name is Tyler Moore, I think his name is. He played Michael Myers in this movie. He did a phenomenal job. A big fucking guy who can kick fucking ass, and no, he did a good job. This is why it's a different interpretation of the character of Michael Myers. Instead of him being a stealthy kind of killer, he's a fucking brute. He will fuck you up. Which, I mean, well, I kind of saw that coming with Rob Zombie's interpretation because John Carpenter told him, "Hey, do something different, make it your own," and he did. And while it made some Halloween fans love it, some Halloween fans hate it, I'm kind of in the middle. It's a 5 out of 10 film. Nothing is going to blow you away. I mean, I do not care for the beginning parts of the movie where we see Michael Myers' childhood. We did not need to see that. We could have went the entire movie without seeing that. But, I mean, the kills were pretty good. The acting was pretty good. Writing, mediocre at best. Not some of Rob Zombie's best work in terms of writing, but hey, it's a decent film. I mean, it's nothing's going to blow your socks off, in my opinion. The Lords of Salem. This is this one I'll put right there in B tier. It's a very different style of film. To me, this is Rob Zombie's most different film. It does not feel like a Rob Zombie flick, in my opinion. It feels like a grindhouse horror director made this, not Rob Zombie. For one thing, the cinematography is actually quite gorgeous in this movie, and there's only 2 other movies by Rob Zombie I can say that with, because that's because the cinematographer from this movie went on to do, he did a movie previous to this, and he did another movie after this, which, you should know the last 2 are coming up. I love the concept. I think the actors in this movie did a phenomenal job. Again, the only thing that holds it back is the weak script. I will say this: Rob Zombie needs to take some sort of writing lessons, because there's only 2 movies that I will say has exceptional writing in this catalog, and it's the last 2 coming up. But Jesus, man, this is probably his weakest script. Like House of a Thousand Corpses, yeah, it was bad, but Lords of Salem was it just felt so lazy. But the only thing that keeps it from being COD tier is the fact that the visuals are nice, the story is intriguing, it's just not well written. The acting is great. In fact, if the story was well written, it would have been an A or S tier. But the writing is a bit weak, and that's always been a problem with Rob Zombie films. And the writing has always been weak, and unfortunately, this one is cursed by that. The Devil's Rejects, my favorite Rob Zombie film. If you have never watched The Devil's Rejects, once you watch this, you will see what I see in Rob Zombie: potential. This film, and this is a film, may be a Rob Zombie flick. It may have the Rob Zombie mannerisms that we're all used to. The shock gore, the vulgarity. But what this has is character development, a good script, great character interactions, great intense moments. Yeah, it's a fucked up flick, but Rob Zombie does it. And this is probably my second favorite film. My first favorite film is coming up right after this, but you really do start to care about these characters at the end of The Devil's Rejects. Like, it's shocking how Rob Zombie could take these sick, sadistic fucks and make you actually care about them. It's so weird, but so brilliant. This is easily one of his best films. He did a phenomenal job with writing and directing this film. He did such a damn good job, and you got to commend the guy for that. He did a great job. He did an awesome job with the movie. This was coming right after House of a Thousand Corpses. That made this a big step up. It's a nice road trip movie with a very intense scene and great acting from all the actors in this movie. Last but not least, we got Three from Hell. This is my new favorite zombie film. So this is meant to be in a trilogy. You're supposed to have The House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell. But here's the thing: I don't consider House of a Thousand Corpses anywhere near the quality of these two films. Three from Hell is again just like Devil's Rejects, another road trip movie where they get arrested and the baby mainly spends most of his time in prison. Captain Spaulding dies in prison, and of course we got the other who is out of prison trying to break out baby. So the whole movie is basically them on the run, just like in the Devil's Rejects, except this one, Rob Zombie focused less on the gore. This is probably, to me, his least gruesome movie. The Devil's Rejects was fucked up. I mean, yeah. This just feels like his least gruesome movie. Like, it didn't need that much gore. Yeah, there's a lot of blood. Like, yeah, people get shot and shit, and someone gets stabbed. But really, other than that, there's not a lot of gore. It's surprisingly tame. And I watched the unrated version, and it's surprisingly tame. If you want to watch two very good Rob Zombie flicks, I do suggest The Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, and that's perfect because those movies, they go with each other. That's the perfect thing. The movies on down, you can ignore, but to me, if you really want to see what I see in Rob Zombie fucking potential, watch The Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, and you'll see what I mean. Those two are very competently made films. They always switch position. What's my favorite? Three from Hell is my favorite, or no, another day, Devil's Rejects is my favorite. But Rob Zombie, man, dude, take what you learned from the Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell and run with that, because I mean, those are two of his best films in my opinion. Like, those are phenomenal films. I own them on Blu-ray because I own Three from Hell on 4K now, and I own Devil's Rejects on Blu-ray because of how fucking good they are. If you want to really watch some good Rob Zombie flicks, watch Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell. Anyways, guys, this is my Rob Zombie tier list. Let me know in the comments what other directors I should do, and I will do them. So yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome day. I'll talk to you guys later.